Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a Pride reading vlog, week 2 of 2024. It's Tuesday. I didn't feel like filming Sunday or Monday, but I did finish this book earlier this week. I started it during the first week and I got kind of frustrated because of some of the dynamics that were going on. This is about a online rivalry between two advice givers at a certain college, historically women's college, which is a real college, Wellesley, and it talks the whole historically women's college thing, and it's about them being friends in person but rivals online because their online advice giving accounts are anonymous. Well, they're incognito. They don't have their names on the accounts. They start being really nasty to each other on the online ones while being really nice in person, and it was just like really frustrating to me how immature it was to decide that since you have the anonymity of an online space, you're going to use it to be nasty. And they're like 19 years old, so I know it's on the cusp of being an adult and your brain still isn't developed that great, but like this is some 15-16-year-old nonsense in my opinion. It's talked about at a point in the book that one of the characters named Jo, that's just how she relates to people in real life sometimes too, except clearly not all the time because it never shows her doing that to any of the other characters, just like calling them names and stuff like that, like she does to the other advice account online, because if it did show her doing that to people in person, she'd be harder to like, but because they both do it just online and not in person, it's more irritating than making them like they're bad people. One of them is white and one is Chinese American, and during the book, during the part that I decided to skip because I was getting irritated, I skipped about 60 pages. Jo decides to go from she, her pronoun to she, they pronouns, and is figuring out gender a little bit. They are both AroAce, and also during the part I skipped, they decide to set up a group on campus called the Dianas, which is a meeting for people who are aspec, so either on the asexual spectrum or the aromantic spectrum. Jo especially has a lot of issues surrounding, despite her family being the more accepting of the two families, they have more trouble picturing a future for themselves that includes being loved, and feel like if their friends couple up, they won't be loved anymore. So we get to deal with that. Ultimately, it is about these two characters becoming really, really good friends, and how beautiful that platonic love is, and I really liked it, and it has a lot in common with the book Loveless in a few ways, both being a college setting and being a lot about two people figuring out what a strong platonic bond they have. So yeah, it was really good in the end. It just had that one annoying piece, so I ended up giving it 4 stars.
Arwen has decided that now that she is a grown-up cat of 5 years old, she will now need cuddles every day, multiple times a day. In the past, she has not been nearly this cuddly. Yeah, you've changed your habits. Oh. So I finished an audiobook which was called Efrén Divided. This was recommended in light of Biden signing an executive order to make it so that when people come to, I think, any border, but obviously the focus is on the southern border because, you know, racism, people can't just come up and ask for asylum anymore, or people can't come into a port and ask for asylum and have that process get started. They will be kicked out, which a lot of people end up being kicked out anyway, but now it's like totally impossible. One of the people I follow, who is a Latinx book creator, recommended a bunch of books about the immigrant experience, specifically Latina immigrant experience. So this was not a pride read, but I am somebody who likes to bring attention to current events via book reviews. So Efrén Divided is about a kid, I feel like he's 12, he's in middle school, I'm pretty sure, and his both his parents are undocumented immigrants. They live in the US relatively close to the southern border. I don't remember which state. And the story kicks off when Efrén's mother gets deported. And it's a lot about his dad working extra hours so that he can raise money to get her back into the country. Meanwhile, Efrén is basically responsible for taking care of his two younger siblings, and it's a lot. And he's also trying to save money, not spend much money on food, because he wants every penny to go to getting his mother back. And so it's really, really stressful, and he starts having a hard time at school. Fortunately, he has a very understanding teacher who acts like a teacher should act, and supports him. Another plot point is his best friend is running for class president. It's kind of about the reasons to get into politics and like what good you can do from a position of a small amount of power, and how you can, even if you can't like affect policy, you can affect like public opinion by having a platform. Yeah, it was a lot, very heavy, very sad, but yeah, it's something that a lot of kids go through, so I think it's good for there to be a book aimed at kids that talks about this subject. So I just read The Magic Fish by Trung Le Nguyen in one sitting, according to my reading app that I got so I could take part in my library's summer reading challenge. It took me 44 minutes, and it made me cry. It was so sweet. It is about this young second generation Vietnamese American connects with his mom through reading books to her and her reading books to him, because her English isn't so good, so they work on English language stories together so that she can practice. So it has stories within the story. So two of them are one Cinderella story that I think is European inspired, but it's not the standard one that Disney made. It's a little bit different. It's quite a lot different, actually. The second one that is the Vietnamese version is actually a little bit closer to a Brothers Grimm version of the story, with some added on parts to the ending. And then there is a Little Mermaid story that is very close to the Hans Christian Andersen version. And a big theme of the story is how these stories make them think about their own lives that they have lived and what's going on with them. The boy is gay and he hasn't told his family yet. He's not out to anyone yet except one of his two best friends. He has a crush on his other best friend. He goes to a school where that is not allowed. He wants to tell his family, but he can't figure out how to express it in Vietnamese so that they will understand in the language that they understand best. It also shows her story and how she decided to come with her husband to America, and some of the things that were going on with them before that, how she misses her family who are still in Vietnam. And a big theme is also how stories change with the times to reflect new social issues, or can change in the individual telling to fit a certain family. That is used to great emotional and beautiful effect in this book, so I really loved it. Also, it's just lovely. So different sections of the story will be different colors, like there's purple sections, red sections, and that kind of tells you when we're switching stories. And I really love the illustrations of the fantasy characters. They're really, really pretty. Yeah, definitely 5 stars. I loved it.
Hello, it's Friday, like the 14th or something, and I finished Grief Slut Poems by Evelyn Berry. This is one that I asked my library to buy because the author is someone I follow on TikTok, and I had heard her read a few of these poems, and I thought they were really good. Some of them were a bit too high concept or metaphorical for me in a way that I didn't know what was being discussed, but I did really like a few of them. I think Chandelier was my favorite, which is one that I had heard performed by the author. Several of them are grief poems about a friend that the author lost. There's a note about that in the author's note. And yeah, there's stuff about wanting your queer friends to survive and grieving them when they're gone, and stuff like that. And I think it was really well done. But I would have liked it better if I had understood more of the poems and more of the themes that were going on. But that is something that happens with poetry, and you have to sometimes sit with things to understand them, or because I have different experiences than the author, there are some things that I'm just not going to get because they're references to things that I don't know about. So yeah, I do think it's really well done though, so 4 stars. So I woke up at like 2:30 a.m. last night, and I was having some pain from my scrapes that I got falling off my scooter last week, and so I knew I wasn't going to go back to sleep early, and I felt like reading some smut. So I went onto my Kindle app and was scrolling through, and nothing looked appealing from what I already had, so I looked to the notifications section to see if like there was any like new books by authors I already follow that might look good, and I saw an ad for a sale for Consort of Fire by Kit Rocha, that it was only $2, and I read the description, and it is about an arranged marriage and with a dragon who is a lot more dragonish than the dragon from, say, Uprooted, but it's a little bit of a similar concept to that, where somebody has to go live with the dragon. In this case, it's for their lifetime. There are several problems, one of which is that although this is a queer normative world, so the fact that she's in love with her bodyguard slash handmaiden isn't a problem because they're both women. It's a problem because the royals in this country think that have engaged her to the dragon and think that he would be offended, and so they've been keeping it secret. But it turns out that the dreamers, or the super magical rulers of this realm, the dragon of which is one of them, are actually super into polyamory, and most of them are also bi. When the dragon finds out, it's like, cool, I think you're both hot, and I also like your personality. Let's do this thing. But also, the 2 women are supposed to kill the dragon, and if they don't, they're cursed. One of them is cursed to die. So lots of angst going on, and I really like the arranged marriage trope. I really like bodyguard and guarded romances, and I really like angst. So all of that was up my alley, so I was like, yes, I will go. I will purchase this book and I will read it. And I read it for like an hour and a half that night, and then I finished it today. Super up my alley, so I ended up giving it 5 stars. Is at least one more book. I don't know if there's more after that, but I might be content to leave it here because I liked where everything was left, but I would also like to see more of these characters because they were great. And I think I'm going to end the vlog here, which was mostly just a series of reviews and not much other content. But I didn't do a lot this week other than read and play video games and embroider. I've gone back to embroidering. I could show you what I've been embroidering, but I'm not quite finished with it. So I want to show you when I'm finished. But I want to edit this and get it up so that I don't have to do any editing while I'm at the beach next week. But so you will get more life, fun vacation content in next week's vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! I realized I forgot to walk you through what prompts I have completed from the Queerlet Readathon and the Diverse Pride Readathon. So let's start with Queerlet. So I'm currently working on one of the group reads, Under the Odella Trees, which is set in Nigeria just after the Civil War, but I haven't completed it, or during the Civil War partially. I haven't completed it yet, so it's not on the little graphic I'll show you, but I am working on it. And for graphic, I put the magic fish, of course. For question mark, I decided that my prompt would be a deaf author, so I put Biphobia up there. For night, I put Consort of Fire because I read it during the night. For international, I think I put the magic fish again because it takes part partially in Vietnam. For immigrants, I put Dear Wendy because one of the main characters is a second generation Chinese American. And I think that's all that I did for this one. And then for Diverse Pride Readathon 2024 bingo, for bisexual / pansexual MC, I put Consort of Fire because there are a lot of bi characters, including all 3 of the main characters. For Ace Aerospec MC, of course, we have Dear Wendy. For BIPOC author, we have The Magic Fish. For nonfiction, we have Biphobia. For fantasy, we have Consort of Fire. For graphic novel / manga, we have The Magic Fish. And for trans MC, not really MC, but the author of Grief Slut is trans, and it's poetry, so a lot of the poems are about her, so she's basically the main character. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good on that one. Very happy with that. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!